gentlemen, welcome back. Season 2 of The Young and the Rowdies. It is your boy, Patrick Young, Big Pat, back in the building. So excited bringing you Season 2 of The Young and the Rowdies. I didn't forget you guys. I never would. Just had to do a few things along the way and just take a little bit of break. Because, all we had was NBA basketball. But don't worry, people. We have a lot planned for this upcoming season. We're expanding, even getting into some football. Not me, but, there's going to be somebody else doing football as well. But I want to thank you guys again for jumping in along with this journey with me. Second season of hosting an awesome show, a podcast, doing better than I ever would have thought. But don't forget to subscribe. And please check out the Field of 68 Media Network on the website if ever you want to watch the recordings of these interviews in which I'm doing. But without further ado, you already know. Let's get into this first episode of Season 2. And who else to have other than the head ball coach himself to get into a few things of last season, to talk about this season coming up, and all the things in between that. So let's get into it. I'll welcome our guest, Coach Mike White. What's going on, Gator Nation? Without further ado, let's dive into it. Why not start the second season of The Young and the Rowdies with none other than the head ball coach, Mike White. How you doing, Coach White?
Doing great, Pat. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. I know you've had a pretty busy off season. So much stuff that happened this off season for you guys in preparing for this next season. Can you get into a little bit of that for us?
Oh, wow. Where do you start, right? What a year we've all had.
Yeah.
I won't get into last season because you didn't ask me. So we can we'll just start with the postseason. I guess when it ends, Pat, you immediately you go into your postseason individual meetings with your guys, and you try to be as real as possible and transparent as possible, and it's a two-way street, of course. And with a bunch of our guys, they were excited about getting back to work and saw that. With this level of development, with focusing on these things, it makes sense for me to return. I'm kind of aligned with you, Coach, so on and so forth. We had three guys that decided to enter the draft. Two stayed in, of course. Colin Castleton came back. And then lately, in the past 3 or 4 weeks, we had another guy who, in Samson Rutsensev, who had decided to come back. Was really excited, was working really hard, thought he'd have a breakout sophomore year. He ended up signing a contract in Europe. He stayed over there. So that was tough for us, but, we're excited for him, of course. And then we had 4 guys that jumped in the portal, which is obviously very, very prevalent these days. It's the climate of college basketball. I want to say we had near mid-80s in terms of our league. I want to say maybe 85 transfers in our league, 4, of course, with us. It's what it is. We're going to see it year in and year out. We were able to get 4 out of the portal. We were able to sign another player here recently who had a really good summer with the EYBL, who reclassed in Elijah Kennedy. So really like our class coming in. Kwesi Reeves is a freshman, a 5-star guy. Very talented, hardworking kid. So in terms of that, and all that's just recruiting, right? And then we had, as you know, Pat, we had 2 assistant coaches. Mm-hmm. People come, you hear for a month, man, that what bad news, you lost those guys. No, it's great news. This is what it's all about. You sign players to help them become the best that they can be. You hope that they can realize the dream and play professionally one day, regardless, stay on track academically. From when the ball stops bouncing, you're trying to develop leaders on and off the court with staff members, with brothers. We're very, very close, of course. You're in the trenches with these guys. You're working 18-hour days with these guys over the course of 7-8 months. And Darius Nichols and Jordan Mincy had become ready, probably in the last couple of years to become head coaches. And that's what they achieved. They provided great consistency here. We're one of 6 teams that have advanced in the last 4 NCAA tournaments across the entire country. And those guys were a big part of that. And they're ready. I'm excited for them. That's 3 for 3, in terms of the 3 assistant coaches that came from Louisiana Tech. We brought a mid-major staff here. We thought we thought we were a high major staff. I thought those guys were really good. We were proven to be right because all three of those guys are now head coaches. They'll all be really good, of course. Super excited for them. Crazy summer. Brought in Eric Pastrana and Akeem Miskadeen to fill those huge shoes. Really excited about these guys and what the future holds here for us.
Yeah, you just dove into a lot there, Coach, and super excited that Coach Mincy was here in JU. Got a chance to connect with him a little bit down here. He's fantastic, just a fantastic, salt of the earth, just great energy. I mean, just like you. I would expect nothing less.
No, you're kind. He's a stud. He's got as much energy as anyone I know.
What is the process? Because I know I connected with you a little bit earlier this summer of striving to fill those vacancies. You know, how tough is that to find the right guys? And I have no doubt that you obviously did that. I'm not in your position, so I don't even know what it's like when you're trying to fill those gaps.
You know, Pat, I can't lie to you. It's really, really, really difficult. You know, for me at least, you know, we're all built different. We all have different DNA, and I'm a type of guy. I tell people all the time, joking around, and I used it a lot when I was going through those coaching searches, of which took a long time. And you learn from every search, just like you learn from every recruiting process, hiring process. You learn and you're developing throughout life, year in and year out. But I'm a type of guy that can go into Walmart at 10 o'clock at night and get stuck comparing labels and sales. And you know what I mean? You go in there to get one thing or Publix, and I might be in there an hour and a half, and I'm just you know, just overly thorough at times, probably overthink some stuff at times. You know, Eric and Akeem were two guys that I was really high on immediately. And then I guess I wouldn't take it back, because as you go through the process, you end up realizing, you know, I circled back and said, these two guys, as excited as I was in the first week, I probably should have just hired them then, you know. But what's the right guy to hire? Who is it? You know, everyone's got different opinions, and I'm a guy as I do preach to our guys not to let too much exterior noise in, of course, but I do take opinions, you know, and there's a lot of guys that I lean on, and current staff, former staff, a bunch of different ways to, as you can imagine, form a staff.
A great vetting process. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you hire, you hire a former head coach? Do you hire an NBA assistant coach? Do you hire a G League head coach? Do you hire an AU coach? And so you end up going through, at least I did, a consideration of so many different type of guys. Meanwhile, your phone's going crazy the whole time because the University of Florida is what it is, and people want to be here. It's a destination place, which adds further confusion to the whole thing, right? Because now and it takes time, because you want to return calls, and then you want to take calls of certain people you respect in the business that might be pushing someone that they feel like might be a really good fit. So very, very taxing. That said, the biggest factor, most important factor to me, you know, can you recruit? Can you coach? Are you a good mentor? Are you a good X and O guy? Are you really good with film? Are you really good with scouting? You know, all those things are important, but most importantly, are you a great human being? You know, are you a great teammate with the people you're working with? Are you going to be an incredible example to these young men? Can we all trust each other? You know,
that's huge.
Do you want to be in a foxhole with these guys? And ultimately, we're back to, again, two dudes, two coaches that are great people, huge shoes to fill. But the two guys that we were able to attract, Pat, are great human beings.
Can't wait to meet them.
Very similarly.
I'm pumped. I can't wait to meet them. It's going to be awesome.
We need you back. We need you to come back, not only to meet these guys, but to jump into practice and beat up on our bigs.
Hey, I can still go. I can't go for a long time, but put me in that half court setting and we're just working on post. None of those guys are going to score on me. I tell you that.
I believe it. We wouldn't have to double, would we?
Shoulder squares to the sideline. Yeah, don't even send the double. Don't send the double. I got him. So let's get in a little bit to, well, what do you do, you know, after the season's over? because obviously, I just read Tim Grover's book, Winning. Man, awesome. And, as people that have tasted winning, we understand there's a process to that. And, winning doesn't wait for anyone. It doesn't care if you've worked, stayed up, slept in, whatever process that you put yourself into. It's like, all right, I don't care that you put the work in and the season did this or that. Ha ha. Next season, tough luck. But, a lot of guys, you hear stories about former players, maybe Jordan or Kobe, or that after the season's over, they might take a day off and, they're back at it full go. For you as a coach in your position, how do you decompress for a little bit? And then when you get like back into, I'm sure the brain never turns off.
Right.
I'm sure it never turns off. But
Right.
getting after the season's over, decompressing, spending some more time with the family. I know you went on a few vacations. I'm sure you really enjoyed that. What do you do to kind of like just balance yourself back and then get back into that frame of mind of where you are?
Yeah, it's very difficult, Pat, especially in an off season like we had. Certain off seasons, as I'm sitting here, August 12th, you feel really recharged, and you've had time to get away. You've had time where you can put your phone down for a couple. We didn't have that luxury this off season, just being honest, because of what we just talked about. The filling assistant spots, the portal. Who's going to stay in the draft, who's coming back. And I remember it vividly. The season's over. We go to the beach. And literally the entire time we were at the beach, maybe 4 or 5 days, I didn't hit the sand. I didn't get a chance to touch the sand, unfortunately. And I love being out in the water. I love paddle surfing. Kira had the kids 1-on-5 down there, and I was up on the balcony where I had a good signal, working the portal. That's kind of what we did. It was a crazy summer, crazy year, right? Started with COVID, of course. And then, Keontae's situation, just an unbelievable year. Normally, we like to enjoy the water a little bit.
Right.
I guess we'll have, some 36, we probably had a couple 36-hour getaways, if you will, where we just I'm on the phone a little bit less, where you just, what do we do for fun other than getting in the water? Just Kira and the kids just hanging out, maybe cooking a dinner together, watching the latest Disney movie. That's kind of what we do.
Well, that's awesome. It's great having, they always say beside a great man is a great woman. And I don't think I've gotten a chance to meet your wife yet, but I can only imagine she's
a saint.
We got to make that happen sometime this upcoming season.
Absolutely.
But look, now that things are the way they are with the transfer portal, how is that going to? We got to speak on that a little bit a few months ago.
Sure.
How is that going to approach? How does that approach your recruiting now? Like, because some of the guys you grab, they have only 1 year of eligibility, so they're just here for a pit stop. But they know, they're going to make the most of this opportunity. And then like going to next, like how much are you going to spend time into the transfer portal versus bringing in kids out of high school? Some of these top 20 kids out of high school, now that they're seeing the opportunities to go to this G League Ignite program, do we not even worry about those kids now? How do you navigate? Because I think what was it, 1,600 kids, college basketball players entered the portal this year. Something crazy. It seems like that's going to be it'd be much more useful to grab a kid from another school, depending on the situation. Maybe it just didn't work out for him, but he's a good character guy, fits in, and he can come and play and get it right away. Versus, that freshman, Trey Mann had that freshman year curve that he, had to get through. If you can avoid that and get a guy to come in right away to impact winning, I'd spend more time in the transfer portal. So I'm sure that's something that you're going to be doing a lot more of these upcoming years.
Yeah, I think we'll consider it more than we have in the past, with the one-time transfer exception where guys can become immediately eligible to complement the grad transfer exception, of course. That said, I don't know that, certain programs I'm sure will recruit solely that way. We've considered it, but we're just not going to. I just think our recruiting base has, is very lucrative. I think we've got a lot of talented guys in our area. Again, we've got a really strong brand name in the Florida Gators. I think we can attract a lot of high-level talent, both athletically and in terms of their character. Great people here. So with us, we've talked about balancing it as much as possible. So, we can all sit here and complain about it. But I'm glad for these young men that have opportunities to. It's not quite working for me individually, so be it. Go to another place, and now you've got a chance where you don't have to sit. At least one time. I think it's a great thing. So I think that the transfer portal has such a negative connotation, but I think there's some positives to it too. Not only that, but for us, programs like us, it gives opportunities to balance rosters. We lost 3 guys to play professionally. Well, we were able to bring in some older guys because Scotty and Trey and Sam would have been a sophomore, a junior. Now all of a sudden, instead of having to replace those guys with 3 freshmen like we would have, 10, 20 years ago, now it's let's take a junior and Myron Jones from Penn State, a couple grad transfers and Flan and BMAC and CJ Felder, who's got 2 or 3 years left. So gives us an opportunity to balance. That said, I do think the biggest challenge is just the overall level of continuity and the fact that 365 days you're having to evaluate, high school juniors, high school sophomores, high school seniors, and the entire portal and guys that could potentially jump in the portal. You're really evaluating just about every roster in the country now, junior college players. And then throughout the year, you're probably putting percentages on how many of these guys are we going to lose,
right.
Because you know how it is, Pat. We're going to have 5 guys that start this year. I don't know if the same 5 will start every game, but you're going to have 9 through 13, 8 through 13. Different guys look at it in different ways. Those guys, the second half of your roster, are they going to stick it out? Or are they going to jump in the portal? And no hard feelings either way, but you're trying to evaluate that throughout the entire season, throughout the off season. It makes for recruiting was always on the forefront of everything we do. Now it's even more on the forefront. It's never ending.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's why it's, so important, as you said, having the right staff to, those 9 through 13 guys, to continue to cultivate those relationships and challenge them. Like, hey, in the NBA, they always say, stay ready, keep preparing, because you never know. But maybe sometimes the situation isn't right for you, and there's no hard feelings at all, because everyone wants all these kids to succeed and be successful and achieve what they want. But look at Colin for example, 2 years in Michigan, I think maybe 1 or 2 points he averaged or something like that. But he, when I had him on the show, he just like, I'm going to stay the course. I'm going to work my butt off, and I'm going to wait for my opportunity. So when he said it was a tough decision to transfer, but coming back to close to family, the opportunity to play with you, and then he has an awesome year. It's no surprise, because he put that work in. And of course, again, everyone's situation is going to be different, but having that mindset, for in life in general, a lot of people want to, we think about long suffering, enduring, persevering. Those are like curse words now. It's all about immediate gratification. I want it right now. I worked hard for a week. I had one good summer. So, but it's like, no, like you got to keep building up on that percentage, that 1% every single day, consistent. And not only what you do on the court, how can you take care of your life and have balance on the other areas as well?
Sure.
But it's exciting. I'm super excited about this season. You brought some great guys in. Got to let you guys in on a little secret here. My friend Colin, who is the owner at New Scooters for Less and has been a huge advocate for the University of Florida and for Gainesville, has a podcast called Whoa Gainesville. It's a podcast he's been building now for over 3 years. He interviews a wide variety of guests on the overarching theme of leadership and business. He's out to help Gainesville retain as much of the top 5 talent coming out of the University of Florida help businesses attract experienced talent to Gainesville and help businesses build as many collaborations as possible. You can find his show by going to whoagnv.com or by searching Whoa Gainesville Podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. Actually, Colin had me on his show a few weeks ago, episode 91, with my best friend and business partner. I highly recommend you checking that out and giving it a listen. Go check him out. Thanks, you guys. Before we get into the excitement and the things that I want to talk about for next season, this upcoming season, looking back at last season, people got to remember all the obstacles you guys had to face before. Everyone did, but before and during the season, like you guys weren't able to use the locker room all season. One player on the team, he was quarantined for, I think Duke told me, almost 4 weeks during the whole season. Multiple players get COVID. This and that happens. Just so many ups and for you, would you say that was one of the hardest seasons that you preseason through COVID, one of the toughest seasons that you had to endure?
Not even close.
Not even close.
The coaching, it was 3 times harder than any year I've been a part of, and that's before you even get to Keontae's situation. It was an incredibly taxing year. I guess we can stay with COVID for a little bit. A positive that kind of turned into a negative for us, I think, because of all of the guidelines and the fact that let me just put it this way. So Duke Werner, Duke, the man, associate athletic director now. He was your athletic trainer.
He's our athletic director now.
Yep, he's made it. He's big time.
Wow.
We call him associate when you get him on the phone. You call him associate. He's earned it.
Yes, he has. Wow, that's incredible.
So, as he did a great job with keeping our guys healthy, right? But you also know that once guys got it, they wouldn't have to be quarantined after they got it, right? So the curse of the fact that we were one of the most healthy teams in terms of several guys not getting it, it led to more quarantines for us, maybe compared to some other teams. And that was the fortunate thing and the unfortunate thing. But I think that Duke and the rest of our administration and Stacy just did a really good job of doing everything they possibly could to keep our guys as healthy as possible, to educate all of us really in terms of staying healthy and just, again, doing everything we could. So, I mean, Pat, I could go on and on with this. As you can imagine, like team circles at the end of practice, it wasn't a circle where we got arms around each other anymore. Last season it was spread out the entire court. We got masks on. Coach, I can't hear you. You're screaming through your mask. I'm killing cough drops because my throat's on fire, just trying to coach through masks. The pre-game film, the spacing there, sometimes Duke coming up to you as hey man, you grab 2 guys and in the middle of a practice and we should have done, and all of a sudden Duke's got his hand on your shoulder saying, no, hey coach, we got to space out again. Remember, it was just nonstop, as it should have been, because this was bigger than basketball, of course, right. But just to try to operate normally just didn't happen. It wasn't going to happen.
I can only imagine when Duke told me that you guys weren't able to, the players weren't able to use the locker room the entire season. That's where guys, before practice, after practice, just have camaraderie and connect. And he was like, no, I mean, a lot of guys, they'll finish practice, they'll go just drop their stuff, they'll go shower at home. And I'm just like, man, I remember some of my favorite memories at school with the guys who were in the locker room.
That's right.
Just connecting and clowning around and playing games and stuff. But, you
remember too, I'm sure, Pat, like on the road when you check into hotels, right? Say it's 6 o'clock. Hey, let's all meet down here in the banquet room at 7:30, and we're going to have dinner together. And, that's a time we all hang out and then, buffet style, get seconds and thirds, watch some film, whatever, put on the SEC network, watch the game that night. And it was, man, it was like boxed whatever. Sometimes they'd serve you, but they would encourage you, hey, go back to your room. So we just didn't have those opportunities. But it's not Florida specific, of course. It was
Yes.
college athletics specific. It was
Yeah.
it was it was very, very it was across the board. So, but it was unique that none of these teams, us included, had those same, just didn't feel the same, didn't have those opportunities just to hang out and have some normalcy, of course.
What did last season teach you about life in general, personally?
Um,
Yes, the lesson that.
Gratitude, something we talk about as much as anything, Pat. You and I have talked about that. We could hammer that point home every day.
Oh yeah.
The fact that we've got an opportunity to do it. It's a little bit different, but didn't have an opportunity to finish last year. Keontae's situation, of course, speaks to gratitude as much as anything in several different ways. Patience, perseverance, compliance. You know, look, I don't want to wear this mask.
Right.
I want to walk over here and get these couple guys in a huddle and put my arm around them. You know, but these people are professionals at what they do, and we need to be compliant and take direction,
Yeah.
fall in line, and just be company guys. We've got to do what we're asked to do. Those are probably the things that stick out the most, Pat.
That's awesome. Speaking of Keontae, I know that you know, we love him, and we, again, bigger than basketball, and we're hoping just in the fact that he's alive, he's healthy, has a lot of life, for, you know, God willing, a lot of life left to live. You know, any updates on when we can find out if what it's gonna look like for next season for him, or when he's gonna get tested again and see what his future is gonna look like in regards to basketball.
Yeah, Pat, he has not been cleared, and you know, anything moving forward, it would just come from him or his
Okay.
family or his medical people. But
Yeah.
you know, that's the basketball piece, um, which is not as important as you talked about. And I know it's super important to him, of course, and really to all of us, of course. But you know, especially a 20-year-old who has worked really, really hard to put himself in position to be one of the better players in the country. He's the best player I've ever coached, you know, and he was going to have a monster year. He was on pace. He showed it in those early games, but he showed it a lot more to us as a staff and his teammates in all of those practices leading up to the season opener.
This made it look so easy. The game.
Oh
just
my
looked,
goodness, yeah.
oh,
And he had just developed with his you know, with his skill level. He just took a huge jump with getting a taste. You know, he was potentially gonna go in the draft and stay in the draft there after that would have been the end of his freshman year. And you know, he got some feedback from some people, and he just went to work. And he was coming off ball screens at 23 feet and shooting it like a 2 guard, and really making great plays, good decisions as kind of a ball handler. Assist turnover ratio was really good in practice. He was phenomenal in practice. And but all that said, you know, you said it. He's with us. He was a huge piece of everything that we did last year. He was our most valuable player last year, as a guy that was, you know, sitting on the bench with us, of course, but was huge in practice. He's a wonderfully talented young man. He's as likable a young man as I've ever been around. Magnetic. Our guys just love being around him. He's sneaky funny. You know, the media wouldn't know it. Our fans may not know it, but he is funny as
he's a good dancer too. He's a really good
big
dancer.
time. Yeah, I don't know what the heck he's doing, but he's got some moves, right? I mean, he's a really talented dude, and we love him and we're proud of him.
Yeah, super. Going to continue to keep him in our prayers, and just pray for God's will, and just gratitude, like you said, and just the way that him and his family, you know, Duke talked about a little bit when I had him on, handled everything, and just the support, the love, the coming out of it, the positivity, the using what looks like a tragedy or a terrible circumstance, and using it for positive energy and just a message of again gratitude and just excitement of life. And just I was just blown away with how um, they just took on more than anyone could ever imagine. And just
Yeah.
I can only imagine that the family is entire life is turned around for the better, and just the gratefulness of every day we wake up, because we really don't know. We really don't know.
That's
But
right.
Coach, I know I got you for a few more minutes. Let's get into the excitement coming into next season. As you said, you grabbed a few guys coming in next year. We got C.J. Felder out of Boston College, Philandris Fleming Jr. out of Charleston Southern, Myron Jones, Penn State, and Brandon McKissick out of Missouri, Kansas City. Definitely excited for these guys that have had some experience. Get into it and tell us a little bit about those guys and what you've seen this offseason so far.
Yeah, sure. Pat, we had some really good workouts. We had abbreviated practices, summer practices. It's not quite the same level of intensity or competition that it's going to be in the fall. We always talk about in the summer, we've got training wheels on and we take them off in the fall and you amp it up a little bit. Not as much full court because until we get in great shape, I want to reduce the risk for injuries, of course. Because Preston Green's got him in the weight room and he's hammering these guys. They're putting on weight left and right.
Strong man.
Strong man. Every Friday, we're still doing it, baby.
Fridays.
Yeah. So the before and after pictures of our guys over 8 weeks this summer was incredible. Guys made huge strides in the weight room. Didn't have a bad day, honestly. I'd tell you. I'd tell the media when we have a bad day, let's own it. We had some good practices. We've got some maturity, some experience. Now, how it all meshes, when guys earn starting spots and don't earn starting spots, and minutes are divvied or earned rather, because that's really what it is.
Right.
We'll see how guys respond to all that. But right now, we're in a pretty good place. 2 conference defensive player of the year award winners out of those 4 guys, and then CJ Felder, you got to put in that conversation as well as an elite level talent. Not that he's an elite defender today, but his talent level defensively is really, really high. And Myron Jones is a developing defender, a really underrated passer, can really score it. McKissick's got some pit bull to him. He can really guard the ball, of course, can play a couple positions offensively, really shooting it well. CJ, we talked about his defensive talent, but offensively, he's got some downhill ball skills for a guy his size, really, really long, very versatile offensively and defensively. And Fleming is good at everything. He's a good basketball player, a throwback. What position is he? I don't know. What's his biggest strength? I don't know, but he's not bad at anything. He's a really solid player. And we really like those 4. Kawasi Reeves is as talented a guys we've brought in here, in a dogfight, trying to earn minutes, of course, works as hard as anyone in the program, lives in the gym, and he's 6'6", can sprint into shots, got a big time motor, good length.
Love it.
We really like the guys we're bringing in. And Elijah Kennedy, we added recently, can sprint into 3 balls. Yeah. Man, athletic, lefty, sturdy, competitive, doesn't turn the ball over. He's a ball
big,
sturdy guy.
Strong.
Yeah. He's
for being a freshman.
Yeah. We when we had him on campus, we made sure we didn't bring him over near the football offices. We didn't want Coach Mullen poaching him as a defensive back.
Yeah, I saw some of his highlights on Instagram. I'm like, man, this kid is an athlete. So yeah man, we just continue to cultivate that competitiveness. Like those guys got to step out on that court, and when they put that Florida brand on, whoever's stepping into the exact tech or whatever, they know that you got 9 dogs, or whoever's on the first 5 that are starting, dogs that are coming at you. We don't care how ugly it looks. We don't care if we're playing in the 50s. We want to be playing in the 80s, but we don't care. We're gonna grind it out every game this upcoming season, and I'm super excited for you. Super excited for this upcoming season, and the work that you put in. I think a lot of people don't get a chance, obviously, to see all the work that you put in behind closed doors. People don't understand the grind of recruiting. and the sacrifices you make, it does not go unseen. And the fact that you're able to continue, as you said, being more than just a decent human being, being a guy that'll, take the time to do something like this for me and, 2 years in a row. And whenever I get a chance to see, well, you always welcome all the former guys that come in, and we're just always so grateful for it. And I'm just so grateful to not only call you coach, but call you friend. So I know you got a call coming up, Coach, and I really, really, really appreciate your time.
Well, we're all proud of you, big fella. And you gave me goosebumps. You fired me up talking about dogs and we're going to guard. And I remember you winning 30 games in a row as a senior. So you're giving the first pregame speech this year.
Hey, you let me know when. I'll be there.
Send a car service. Get you over here.
I'll be there. Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, big fella.
Yeah, appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it. That was Coach White. Love that guy to death. So thankful that he has time to jump on this show. This is the Young and the Rowdies. I'm Patrick Young. This is the first episode of season 2. We're going to start sprinkling some episodes here for you in September and October, and we will be full go in November up until the end of the season. I'm striving to get you guys one episode per week. Find me on my Twitter account and my Instagram account at Patrick Young, the number 4, on whatever guests you want us to get in next. I'll try to stay as best as I can, interacting with you guys to get some questions and let you know when the next guest will be coming. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey again. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this podcast with anyone you think that will like it. And without further ado,